Khabib Nurmagomedov and Conor McGregor, man, what are you expecting in this fight? What we'll get your prediction, but just generally, just first thoughts. Khabib Nurmagomedov, Conor McGregor. This is coming off Uriah, dude. Just a year ago, Conor McGregor fought Floyd Mayweather in a boxing match and almost got $100 million. This is not only a different Conor McGregor. This is a different sport of mixed martial arts now.
Oh yeah, man, I'm super excited for it. And I mean, it's one of those things where, I mean, here's the truth. Conor's been out for 2 years, but he's been out fighting the best in the world at a single discipline and improving that area. He's going to have a distinct advantage when it comes to the hands, I think.
Sure.
And the question is, has Conor spent his last 2 years wisely? And Misha, you can attest to this. If with 2 years and having what he had already, he could have made some massive, massive improvements in his wrestling and his jiu-jitsu. So if he's done his homework and he's put things in place, I think he's the favorite. Now, if he hasn't done his homework and he hasn't put in the time on the mat with his wrestling and jiu-jitsu with the right coaching, he's got one way to win, and that's knock Khabib out. So I being a champion, which Conor is, and being a guy that takes the sport seriously, which I think he does, I think he's probably done his homework, but only time will tell. So I'm going to lean towards McGregor on that one.
Everybody shoot. Where Khabib Army at? We're right here. Where Khabib's Army at? We're right here. Khabib's Army at? We're right here.
And then I suddenly thought, look at the fight Conor had against Floyd Mayweather, right? The greatest boxer we've ever seen, greatest boxer for a generation maybe. And he was able to land on him pretty well in those opening rounds prior to him getting tired. And I just think that if he can land on Floyd Mayweather like that, I think he can land on Khabib. And I think that's a fair point to make. And I think if he lands on Khabib, he's got a good chance of putting him away. And I think if he puts Khabib away like that, and there's still no main event booked for New York round the corner. He's just done a great training camp. He's in shape. Why wouldn't you parlay that into another $20 million at Madison Square Garden? Anyway, we'll move on with the show. That's my bold prediction.
Who would he fight at the Garden now? What will be waiting for him?
Nate Diaz 3.
So you think Poirier Diaz 3 is not going to happen? Or you? I
don't know. Listen, anybody will step up. Anybody.
Yeah, of course.
They'll just say, give him an opponent, whoever it may be, you know? So anyway, that's my hot take, if you will.
MMA is crazy because it's one of the few sports, I won't say the only one, but maybe one of the few ones where fake news is fake news, but also real news. it's hard to explain, right? Focusing on the Diaz and Poirier aspect of it. You know, I got to tell you, I found it amazing to watch this. Truly amazing. And for many, many reasons. One of which was, at first, I just thought that was news and they were out there breaking it. But actually, there's a whole lot more than that. Think about what they did here. What they did was, it appears that they colluded, or one just decided, hey, this person's doing it, I might as well follow. Either by accident or not, they appear to be working in tandem to promote a message that the UFC should, number one, make their fight the main event, and they should make it for 165 pounds, and that should be a new weight class, which this bout would be the inaugural one to ring in a new belt. The tweets, as I mentioned, are as follows. Nate says, I'm happy to announce that I'm bringing a new weight division to the UFC. I'll be fighting in the main event November 3rd in NYC against Dustin Poirier for the first ever 165-pound belt super fighter division. I'm happy to be a part of history at UFC at Dana White. Dustin Poirier later tweeting, not much longer after that, it's been a long journey, but here we are, NYC. First ever 165-pound title in the UFC. Hashtag there will be blood. Hashtag Thug Jitsu. They have positioned themselves in the minds of fans, because fans have gotten behind this idea. Frankly, media has gotten behind this idea. It's not your option A, but boy, it ain't a bad option B. And what they've done is, if they don't get picked as the actual main event, whatever does get picked as the actual main event will invariably now be compared to this in the minds of fans. It's literal fake news that could end up creating a real future. And while technically it's fake, it has real world value. It's designed to be fake so as to make what's in it actually come true. Now, if that ain't the craziest thing you've ever seen, I don't know what is.
So if someone's giving you $1,000 to bet on one side of this, Khabib's the favorite right now, about -170. Conor McGregor holding at +140. Do you have a lean here 12 days out?
I do. I'm leaning versus Khabib, and you know, forget all the things I said. This game is very much about mentality, and I have not been around either fighter for some time, so I have no idea where they are, but I'm going to make my best educated guess. When you've made north of $100 million, your level of hunger, the level you're willing to go to suffer to win a fight, is different than a kid who's maybe got 50 grand in the bank from Dagestan. Khabib may have more money than that in the bank, but that's a different level, man. This kid comes from a place. It's different, but similar to the place that Conor came from too. Conor came from a hard upbringing. It wasn't easy, right? He was trying to be a plumber and couldn't make it as such. Came from a blue-collar family, and he was hungry. That's where Khabib is now. And he's going to be more primal. I think he's going to be willing to go to a certain depth of exhaustion and pain to win this fight. And Conor is tough as they come as well. I don't know if he's willing to go that far now, having lived so comfortably for the last year. Hunger is a big part of these big fights. And I give the advantage to Khabib there. And I think that he's able to out-wrestle Conor early, wear him down. And as Conor begins to fade a little bit, he doesn't fade much, but we saw it a little bit in the Nate Diaz fights, Khabib takes over there.
And it sounds like you don't at all worry about the big fight atmosphere for Khabib Nurmagomedov. If anything, it sounds like you think he might be buoyed by it, or I just think this is a different walk than he will have ever experienced prior.
And you make a phenomenal point. And the one thing, I said this to somebody this weekend, you know, I said, look, on paper and as I analyze the fight, I think that Khabib wins this fight, but I can never count out Conor when the lights shine brightest. The kid just shows up. He just shows up, but I can't forget that first Nate Diaz fight.
Yeah,
I can't forget. You know, he is a human being. The kid is human, and this is a guy in Khabib Nurmagomedov that, in my eyes, some of the things that hurt him against Nate Diaz, Khabib is a little better at.